Hello creative friends, this is Joy coming to you with the 5th video for the 5S journal. I saw Kat Hand do a couple of videos on the 5S journal, and she had seen a video from Shannon Green about it, so I thought I would try this and see how it goes for me. So far it hasn't been going that great. It's been taking me longer. I do have more pages, and they suggest 20, and this particular little journal had 30. I allowed myself a little bit of extra time, but it's still taking me longer than the 25 minutes that I'm allowing myself, but it is forcing me to go more quickly and not try to think too much about it. So you know, I don't know if that's good or bad, but at least it helps me like make a quick decision and move on and get through putting this journal together more quickly. So the 5th one is pen and pencil, so I'm going to go through and just do some pen work through the journal and see how it goes. Thanks for watching. So as I was saying, this is the 5th video for this 5S journal that I have created. This is the final step where you add doodling and outlining and whatever the finishing touches are to your pages. I used a couple of Sharpie markers and a white Stabilo pen. Here I'm using it on the saying that I put on this journal page to kind of give some highlights to those letters. I used a fine point black Sharpie and just a regular, the thicker black Sharpie, and I also had a blue marker that I got in a kit that I ordered, and it came with this blue marker, and so I thought that looked better around some of these images and words and phrases than the black did. Most of what I did in this journal to finish it off is to just do some outlining. I did a little bit of doodling, but it seemed to me that there was enough on the background with the papers that I used and the painting and the stenciling and the stamping on these pages that it was pretty busy as it was, so I didn't feel like that they needed any more busyness to the pages as far as adding doodling to them. So there's not a lot more that I did to these pages at this point, other than, like I said, just adding some final finishing touches, highlighting some of the letters on some of the words and sayings, and outlining some of the pictures. But I really liked the way that this journal came out. It was a lot of fun to do, even though you were time constrained, but it forced you to make a decision and move on, and without, you know, giving it a whole lot of thought. So that made it fun and challenging at the same time. And it's funny that even though none of this was planned out whatsoever, it was just kind of thrown in here, you know, as quickly as I could, you know, put stuff down, that it really did turn out to be a really neat little journal. And I really like the idea that I have a little journal that I can look through and enjoy these words and sayings and pictures that I've collected and held on for so long, and have always wanted to use them in an art journal page, but never really found the right page layout or journal page to use them on. So this is a really great way to use up those images and words and phrases and have them in a journal where you can look through the journal and really enjoy them instead of having them stuffed in a box. At least that's what I have done with all of my words and images and quotes and phrases that I've collected. I have them in various boxes depending on whether it's a single word or a phrase or a quote, and whether it's a picture of a person or an animal or a thing. So this is, like I said, a great way to use up a lot of those pictures and get them into a journal where you can enjoy them And it's fun to, go through the stash of images and words that you've collected and see what you have, because you see stuff in there that you're like, man, I forgot all about, having this or having that. And so it's just fun to do, and this is definitely a great way of using up some of those things. And it put a little bit of a dent in my pictures and quotes and words, but not much. I've got a lot more, in my boxes that I can use on other journal pages or on another 5S journal, which I'm really, thinking I'm going to do another 5S journal. I found in my stash a composition book, which is what others have used, and I didn't think I had one, but I had this little journal, so I thought this would be a great journal for doing this 5S journal with. But I did end up halfway through this coming across a little composition book that I had in my stash I'd forgot all about. So I'm going to glue the pages together and get that ready to do another 5S journal here before too much longer. And I will videotape those sessions as well and post them if anybody's interested in seeing how that one turns out. I would think, hopefully that it would be different than this one here. I'm going to try to make it different and follow a different process than what I followed with this little journal. And like I said, I didn't really do a lot of doodling on any, very many pages, but I think one or two I did take the time, like this one here, and did a little bit more doodling to add a little bit more to the page. But again, I didn't feel like that the pages really needed much more than what they already had on them. And some of these pages, like this one, I really like the way it turned out. It's turned out pretty cool. All of them, I like all of the pages, and some of them are like, a little bit more, and or my favorites, but I do like the way they all turned out. So if you haven't tried creating one of these little 5S journals yet, I would highly recommend that you do. They are a lot of fun. And they certainly, force you to not think too hard and just, go for it and just get the, stuff down and get it in your journal and move on to the next thing. So that it's a lot of fun and kind of nice that you don't have time to think about, think too hard or feel like, that there's a lot of pressure to, this has got to be perfect or this has got to be, something spectacular. And, it is what it is. And that's just, the other, part and reason why it's just so much fun. And here I went back through one last time just to see if there was any other pages that I felt needed a little bit something more added to it, just to finish, so to see, if any of the pages needed anything more to feel finished. And like this one here, I'll come back to it here in a second. It just had that big blank spot, so I ended up writing something a little more on that page. And but most of the pages, I felt was finished and was happy with, and felt like that was it. That this was pretty much the completed journal, and I was really, really happy with and pleased with the way it turned out. So I really hope that you enjoy the video, and I hope you try this, and I really appreciate you watching. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye-bye.